It really isn't anything crazy or special. It's just about this very basic awareness, this basic nature of being that is here right now. So there's already a kind of a distinction to some other approaches we can sense here. And that is that what I'm sharing is from the result level, as opposed to a kind of progressive map where we have to go through several stages to then maybe come to the destination of total completeness. What I'm saying fundamentally is that what we are looking for is already here, and what we are looking for is what we are. So we're just going to come to this recognition of what's already the case. So I acknowledge in a way that while this is foundationally always already true, I do acknowledge that it can seem like it's not true. I do acknowledge that maybe in our day-to-day life, the way it very often seems is very much that we're not at the destination, that we are not this complete awareness, and we are somehow this separate self, this mind and a body, and we're trying to navigate life from this very limited position. Maybe you don't feel like that right now. Hmm? Maybe that's not really the case. But very often, I'm sure you're familiar with that sense of being a localized someone. So let's just go straight into kind of the exploration, the pointing to awareness by just starting with this basic sense of being a separate self. We are not turning that into a problem. We're not saying that shouldn't be here. We're just being curious of how it is to feel oneself to be a separate mind. So very often it is a kind of sense of being hooked on thoughts, of being a sort of localized thinker who is using selective attention, is directing it out toward the world. Now that's a perfectly fine way of being, but inevitably we will always make the discovery that life can be quite challenging. And when this is our only mode of operating, our only way of being, we can get overwhelmed. We are vulnerable. And very often, what the result is just basically suffering. We suffer because it is difficult to navigate life as a mind, as a problem solver, as a manager, as a protector. These words I just said, manager, protector, these are kind of different sort of colors or appearances of the mind, right? It can appear in these different ways. And as I just said, the way that the mind shows up in this way, that isn't really the problem. But when we seem to become identified with these patterns of the mind, it is a quite limiting experience, and suffering very often is the result. So, as I just said, maybe that's the kind of basic sense we're having right now of being here, hooked on thoughts, and you're trying to follow my words, you're trying to listen. Maybe you're thinking, will I get something out of this? What is he talking about? Doesn't make much sense to me. But in any way, just notice what it's like to be involved in the conceptual mind. And now from here, just give this mind a bit of space. So just feel awareness expanding to the periphery of the visual field, all the way to the edge, and just rest here. So we're having a kind of soft panoramic view. We're not using selective attention right now. And we're just giving the mind a bit of a holiday here. It has done a lot of work throughout our life. But right now, this problem solver, this manager can simply relax. And maybe right now there's a bit of a protest happening. Maybe the mind says, you cannot relax. Don't forget about me. It's not safe to do this. So we're just assuring that part of our embodiment that we are not forgetting it. We're not going away. We're not dissolving anything. We're staying right here. Nothing crazy is going to happen. We're just asking the mind for some space right now so that we can be with it instead of being identified with it. So again, just feel that problem solver relax a little bit and just appreciate this basic openness, a bit of lightness here. Nothing special, nothing crazy, just a bit more breathing room. And similarly, we are open to all sense fields right now. So just relax and allow sounds to arise and dissolve in this openness. Thoughts are coming and going. The body is felt. And all senses have equal rights right now. Nothing special to do, just this presence. Now, as we are resting here, we are just becoming familiar and realizing the nature of the awareness, which is hearing these words right now. But instead of trying to look for awareness right now, as if it's some kind of object of experience, we're just staying in this relaxed openness and we are allowing awareness to become aware of itself. What is it that is already aware and awake before I even try to be aware and awake? It is just this simple presence. Does this awareness, which is taking in this vastness of experience, have a particular location right now? In other words, do we find awareness sitting in a particular spot anywhere? And we simply don't. Awareness is just here. We cannot say where here is. Here is just here. So again, we don't have to look for it. Just be here now, effortlessly awake, naturally awake. There's nothing to get wrong here. These are just basic facts of being. We can't have more of this. We can't enhance this. Awareness isn't a thing, and therefore there's nothing to enhance or have more of. And feel how experience is just effortlessly flowing right now. Whatever is here is already allowed and is already self-liberating. Just rest here and feel the truth of this. Sounds arising and dissolving all on their own. Thoughts appearing, disappearing. Sensations arising, morphing, vanishing. It doesn't need to be done. It's just already the case. And notice how beautifully this is not some kind of state of detached witnessing. It's not like awareness is sitting here at a distance, observing experience. We are here in this natural presence, and we are naturally intimate with everything that's arising. Just notice how we cannot find any distance between awareness and whatever is appearing to it. Where is the distance right now between awareness and the sound of my voice? Distance simply cannot be found. Separation simply cannot be found right now. But it's not like awareness is an object that's very close to experience. So we cannot even say there's intimacy here in the way we ordinarily think about it. Everything is just naturally and effortlessly included with no separation. Now, notice too how, even though foundationally everything is just this presence, there still is the appearance of a very distinct and unique world. That doesn't go anywhere. There still seems to be a screen in front of me. I can still distinguish between these seemingly separate people I'm seeing right now. And yet it's all just this. Just this appearing as that. But is there any separation between this and that? Well, I just can't find it. And now notice how in this awake openness, everything is still possible. To move your hands, and you can try this right now, just kind of lightly move your hands. You don't need to collapse back into a separate mind that does the moving. It can happen from this natural awake openness. So awareness is not some kind of state we have to dissolve into. It's something we can live from, a kind of operating system, if we want to call it that. So there's still that sense of intentionality and involvement. We can use thoughts. We are breathing. We can move the body. But where is it happening from? It's not happening anymore from this imagined center, this thinker, doer, and director of attention. It's happening from this centerless awake openness. And maybe the mind now sometimes can come back up and wants to get back into the driver's seat. Because in a way, it might be the case that the mind hasn't quite caught up or realized or learned to trust that it's possible to live from this. So when that's happening, we can just say from awareness to the mind, you don't need to be in control. It's well taken care of. You're safe to relax. And we're just familiarizing with this right now. Notice how nothing has changed from when I started talking. Nothing has been added to your experience. Nothing has been taken away. Just this. You haven't gained this. You've never lost this. You could say you've awakened to it, but to what? Just this. Complete as it is. Simple and ordinary. So, whatever we do next, whether you're just listening or you're talking, just see what it's like to let it flow from this.